And what do we got for parking lights? I see 1, 2 in the front. I see 1, 2 in the back. And apparently I'm holding the the license plate light in my hand. And we've got low beams. Low beams with taillights. We got a high beam indicator light. Still got your taillights. And one out there. High beam switch on the floor is going to need replacement or lubrication as it sticks. The dome lights work off of the switch here. The map light is not working. I'm getting no response off of the door switches. I get a fast blink off of the passenger side. I get nothing. I get nothing off of the driver's side. So both lights there, kind of like a frantic capacitor can. I don't get the switch to lock in this position, and I don't get front or rear driver's side turn signal. I get no illumination of these lights or these, which are the regular 12 volt with the headlight switch, which means it's probably a bad headlight switch. You will not be getting any response on your temperature gauge because your wire is broken. Passenger side front brake, it didn't want to roll. I was able to back up the adjusters, but it looks like the ears are sitting. So I'm going to remove the shoes and then it'll be easier to roll. This is the trunk lamp. It is fractured. You're going to need a GE67. Replace the high beam here on the passenger side, which was burned. The 4001, that's a 5001 halogen Wagner. Works fine. But look at the headlight pod. There's not a hint of corrosion or rust anywhere in here. Extremely solid. I applied a little polish to the bezel It has a few pits. We're just going to put it back on. And a real pleasant surprise, all 4 power windows work. And they work with the key in the off position. I checked the heater buttons, high fan, defrost, they all work. I'm not sure the blower is working on low fan. And here's the situation with the horn ground wire. Apparently it broke and was repaired. There's solder on it. There was tape on it. I pulled it off. I think I can run heat shrink tubing in here and get that protected. Investigating why the horns don't blow. 60, 61, kind of different. This is the horn relay. It's certainly different than 62. There are 2 power feeds. This is a power feed that comes off of the solenoid for the starter, the battery right here. This one comes off of the ignition. And at least on this car, the only way it works is with the ignition on. It does not work in the accessory. And this goes to the horns. So we need to check to see if we have juice here and juice here. This is just looking for ground. This is the wire that runs up and then into the steering column to the horn switch. This is the wiring diagram. Page 72 of the service manual. There. Those 2, they just go to the horn. B, that's the feed from the starter relay. The H4, that's the feed, well, as it says, it's from the ignition switch, and then the round thing is the ground. So, if you have juice at B, just connect B to H, and if your horns are working, you should get them to blow. So, B to H, let's see if your horns work. We have working horns. So, with the ignition on, the key on, I should be getting juice at both battery feeds, which would be here and here. So I am, that much is good. And if I could ground the solenoid, assuming the solenoid is good, the horn should blow. So I'm going to run a jumper from here to here. So here is the ground wire for the horn. Comes out of the center of the steering column. I have not been able to get the horns to blow by grounding this end. I put a jumper on it and I went to good solid ground under the dash. It's still not blowing. So I could have a problem with a break in the wire, which is not likely, but most likely the problem is right there This is the turn signal cancel switch and the horn ground. So I will bet that maybe perhaps the contact wheel is no longer making good contact. And that's where I'm going next. So this is a steering column, a spare. This would be similar 60, 61, 62. I was pointing out this switch with the turn signal cancel and the black horn wire that is located right here. Well, so here is the critter in all of its glory. And forget about this thing and this. That's for the turn signal. What we're interested in is this spring-loaded roller This one, she's been stuck and it just wore itself down. They should be round. And I'll show you what they're going to contact. I'll take this apart. So there's the steering shaft. And there you see a, copper ring. You can kind of see the wear mark in here. But this switch, the roller, right here. And that is the end of the wire that runs up and out. So that's how the horn gets ground. These two doodads, they're for the turn signal cancel device, and we're not playing with that. So our concern is, am I getting continuity down the wire, up the wire, into this, into the wheel, and then out this black wire. Let's go find out. So I've connected a jumper to the grounding wheel, and if I find ground with the other end of the jumper, do I have horns? Yes, I do. Trust me, we're all good under the hood. By the way, now that I have the switch off, we were not talking about turn signals, but I do have a problem with one of the turn signals. Look at the switch. The spring is broken inside of it. I get right turn signal, and it cancels. Yeah, I'll do it again here. But I was never getting any left turn signals. And it turns out I've got two problems. If I wiggle the switch over in this position, I can get left turn signals, but not for very long. Plus, it won't hold, and it'll never cancel because, see, that switch gets rolled out of the way and it won't come back because that spring is broken. But let's tidy up horns first. So here's a spare switch that I had that I'll be putting in. I have shined up and lubricated the spin wheel, and You see I got good spring action. I will check it for continuity and install it. Well, an interesting development. I put this new switch in with, and now I get left turn signal. Not only does the switch hold, but it cancels. So apparently by replacing this switch, I fixed the the turn signal problem. I see I've got an awful fast busy, so maybe we got to play with the can. But let's button up horns. So here we go. I just put on a temporary steering wheel and the horn switch. So let's, there you go. Horns working. And now we move on.